Good morning and welcome to Monday. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and I hope it finds you well out there. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And shout out to all of you out there, however you may be listening on the radio, your computer, your iPhone, your cell phone, if you podcasters, those of you downloading me in the middle of the night, it's crazy. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and people are downloading my show. Go to bed. Go to bed. Take a nap. Happy to be here. What a day. We got so much to talk about. An absolute whooping. I'm talking about take them to the woodshed beating happening in gold and silver this morning. I'll tell you all about it. Rumors circulating that this may have, obviously this was done on purpose. What was the purpose? We'll talk about it. I'll explain both. I'll tell you what happened, and then we'll kind of try to guess as to who was out there and behind it all. But I got to tell you, I was playing golf this weekend. And I'm trying to get my golf game back. I've played a lot of golf. And I would say that I've never called myself a good golfer. But, you know, I'm capable of being okay. But I played on Friday. And then we played again. Me and my buddies played again yesterday. And Friday, I was kind of up and down. I hit some good shots, some not good shots, and it was really hot, but it was fine. I will tell you that it's very interesting. The worse I play, the hotter it is outside. Have you ever felt that way? I mean, when I'm hitting good shots, it's not that bad. 114 odds, fine. Right? It can be like 107 outside. If I'm playing bad golf, it might as well be 200 degrees. And let me just tell you, I played a lot of bad golf yesterday, and we play this little game. It's only $1 a hole. It's not, you know, it's kind of like the Eddie Murphy movie, you know, where the brothers bet $1. That's kind of us on the golf course, and yet somehow at the end of 18 holes, I had to pay out $21. I don't know how, you know, the math just didn't work the way it was supposed to. So it was a long day, but during the round, so here I am, I'm losing, which some people may say I'm not the greatest loser in the world. I may have been complaining, maybe not. Okay, I was. It was hot, and we hit a slowdown, you know, which happens, you know. Some days you got to wait to hit, and I grabbed my phone. And I shouldn't have, but I did. And it said, because towards the end of the round, the gold markets had opened. So gold is closed on the weekends. And then electronic trading opens in Asia. In other words, before the Asian markets open, they'll have what they call electronic trading. We see this here in the U.S. The U.S. is kind of at the end of the gold market cycle. So when the gold markets close here in America, for one more hour, gold will trade electronically. And the same thing happens when it starts the next day in Asia. And then, by the way, there's 1 hour, I think it's 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, where gold doesn't trade. So they take a 1 hour timeout, and then electronic trading opens in Asia for an hour before the Asian markets open. And the electronic trading is always very low volume, right? Not a lot happens there. I don't even know why they have it, right? And what happened, I guess, last night, or well, for me, I was in Arizona about 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, was really shocking because I look at my phone and I've got my link. You know, I just hit the button and it shows me gold. And when I looked, gold was down like $80. And I'm like, what? Oh, that's got to just be bad. Maybe they're having a website problem, right? That's what I was thinking. And we still had a couple holes to play. So I checked it a couple of holes later, and now they're saying gold was down like $60. And I'm like, uh-oh. Maybe there's something going on here. And, of course, right now, I'll tell you, gold's down 34, silver's down $1. But when we get back from, because we're coming up on a break, and I don't want to get into 2 seconds, but when we get back from the break, I'll tell you what happened, which I think a lot of people already know what happened, right? This was somebody deliberately tried to send the price of commodities lower in electronic trading. The reasons behind it still remain unclear. There's a lot of debate going on as to whether or not a certain government may have been behind it for reasons that, well, we want to buy more and we just want to buy it for less. But we'll talk all about that. I just want to give it the full time. But I do want to throw a shout out to My Kind CBD because I feel fantastic. I've been telling you guys now for almost a year now, I've been taking other CBD products. It's such a big difference. I played 2 rounds of golf in big-time heat. We didn't tee off at 6 o'clock in the morning. Friday we teed off at 2. Yesterday we teed off at noon, and I couldn't feel better. And I didn't have to take any Advil or anything else. Make sure you check it out because I know it can help you. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. So what happens? And by the way, if you read any article that says, "Oh, the great jobs report on Friday is the reason," that's not what happened. That's either somebody just, well, and again, like everything else, the homers that are the stock cheerleaders, and there's plenty of them, and for good reason. There's a lot of liquidity out there. I'll tell you that nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. First of all, the jobs report wasn't that good, even despite the big number. And if we have time, we'll get to it. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, and others are all saying the next month, I think J.P. Morgan right now is saying 53,000 jobs. That's it. So there's going to be a big, massive crisis. It doesn't matter, though. It really doesn't. Especially if you're buying. We've actually sold more silver this morning than we did in, except for the silver spectaculars. It's been really busy. Silver right now is a screaming buy. Just because I can't imagine it going below $22 anywhere out there. But here's what happened. So it's closed for the weekend. It opens up in this electronic trade, which is what they'll call like low liquidity. People, I'm trading 10 contracts, 5 contracts, pretty low, really low. But all of a sudden, within the first minute of gold opening, nothing's happening. And everything's kind of open, like the futures in the U.S. Open and all this stuff. So, stocks aren't doing anything. The bond yield, which was at 130, was still at 130. There was no big offsetting moves anywhere. There wasn't some big story somewhere. It was basically what they're saying was it was really boring open. They said, but then all of a sudden, a $4 billion, and they call it notional because, the chances are the $4 billion was leveraged to the hilt, right? So it probably wasn't even $1 billion worth of actual money. 24,000 contracts. Okay, so remember, gold contracts, right, are 400-ounce contracts, right? So 24,000 of them. And, you're talking a massive amount of gold being sold in a time of no liquidity. So this was a deliberate act. Something where, we can always argue, well, that shouldn't be allowed, right? Because Wall Street's supposed to be, the debt markets are supposed to be about price discovery. But these are the rules. It's allowed. Now, Basel III, they're going to try to limit some of that stuff, but we're not there yet. And the way they were sold. So this was something where, obviously, let's just say there was somebody out there that had these 24,000 contracts. Well, maybe they wanted to sell them. Right? Gold on Wednesday was 1830. By Friday, it was 1760. And maybe they wanted to sell them. Well, you would sell them in a manner that what? Got you the best price. Which would be, okay, well, here's 10 here, 100 there. Or maybe you'd wait for the Asian market to actually open, and you could sell them and get that price. That's not what they did. They sold them with the intention of getting the lowest price possible. And so this basically blew out the entire bid stack. There was no news. There wasn't even a pair trade correlation catalyst. And what they mean by was, hey, I'm shorting gold and I'm shorting silver, but I'm going long, Japanese bonds or something like that. None of that was there. And they said, the next part was really, really interesting. It took 16 minutes for the entire sell-off to be over. So within 16 minutes, gold lost $100. Gold got down to $16.70. Depending on who you ask, I'll tell you it got down to $16.76 and change. Most people are saying somewhere between $16.75, $16.77. And if you'll remember on Friday, I told you that's that major, big, huge support area for gold. Right? Silver's major, huge support area, $22.25. Silver got down to $22.30 last night. Silver actually, like usual, silver got hit even worse than gold got hit. But as we watched all of it play out, as gold came back, so gold started rallying back, and within 16 minutes, it lost $100 and has been making up ground from it. But people were starting to speculate because of how it was done. No offsetting trade. We haven't heard of any hedge fund or something like that maybe got overexposed long and somebody was taking advantage of them, right? We've seen that happen with these hedge funds get blown up on Wall Street. Wasn't that. And so a lot of people are now speculating one of two things, and I don't know which, and maybe a combination. Either you just had a hedge fund or a bank make a great play, right? That, hey, we're going to blast it when nobody's looking on the most boring day ever after a weekend and try to make a big lick, right? That's one possibility. It's unusual, and especially with there not being this counter trade, if you will. Where was the other offsetting play, and no one can see it? The other one that's kind of gaining more credibility, I guess, because I don't know, right? And I wish that there was more transparency, but there isn't. It is what it is. Is that a government was behind it? And of course, two come to mind right immediately. First of all, obviously China, and then the other one being Russia, or maybe somebody else. But this was a big play, and it was in the early Asian, onset here in the electronic trade, and people are speculating that somebody came in and bought somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 metric tons at the bottom. That's what's circulating out there. I don't know. But I will say this, because if you go to like Kitco and all that, oh yeah, it's all that job. It had nothing to do with job stuff. Believe me when I tell you. This was something else entirely. Should the rules be different? Of course. But this is where the billionaires play, right? And this is what they do. They have why are the rules, should you be allowed? Think about this. The amount of gold sold was 3 months worth of all the gold mined in China, who's the largest gold miner in the world, all in one trade. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount. But that's how it works. That's what's happened. There was not a big move in the dollar. There wasn't a big move in bonds. There wasn't even a big story behind it. But it's one of two things. Either somebody just figured out, hey, I think the market's vulnerable here, and nobody's paying attention, and we can make a big lick, or a government was behind it because they were adding to their gold stockpiles and they wanted to buy it for a whole lot less. I don't know. You can decide. But either way, that's what happened today. Again, silver, it's amazing. Silver's down $1. Silver was down $2 in minutes. So it went from 24 and change to 22 and change. Right now it's at 23 and change. Same thing, gold. Gold was down just under $95. Right now down 36 at 1723. As a case in point, the Dow's down like 60 points. So that's what happened last night into this morning. And again, I don't know anything other than what I just told you. Great time to be buying. Friday we had silver on sale. Silver's on sale even more today. Same thing with gold. This is the cheapest we've seen gold prices maybe in 18 months. Really, when you think about going back to the start of the coronavirus, we're going to run $20 gold pieces today. Let me just hold on a minute. I got to get. I knew I wasn't prepared. It's Monday. I got to get retrained every time. Yeah, so we've got about 100 $20 gold pieces, and I'll get them after I get off the air. I'll put it online as well. $19.95, but you got to act quickly. $19.95, below $2,000. We haven't seen that in at least 18 months. At 800-951-0592. Keep adding to your portfolios. When we get back in the next segment, we're going to talk about the Democrats releasing information on this human infrastructure plan. And then we'll also talk about the repo market. Janet Yellen wants the Congress, she reiterated, to up the debt ceiling. And I've got some news that I think we'll share. You know what? I'll do it right now because I think I've got enough time to fit this in. A lot of people don't know. We remember now the repo market. We've talked a little bit about this, where banks and money market funds and all that are leaving all this money overnight at the Federal Reserve. It's like $1 trillion. And the Federal Reserve's paying them a little bit of interest. The reason why all of this happened is the Trump administration authorized a lot of spending. They didn't spend it all. They had about $1 trillion left over that was sitting in the checkbook in the bank account of the Treasury. Now, most people would say, well, just return it. What if that, hey, why don't you just return the money? You didn't spend it? Send it back. It's not what Janet Yellen did. Instead, they used this extra $1 trillion to pay the bills. So this is why we saw like the deficit not rise as fast as we would expect. They actually have now they've spent it all now. So this is something that is really important to know, because part of the money that they're trying to spend on this new infrastructure deal is supposed to come from the money that was left over that didn't get spent. But guess what? Janet Yellen already spent it. So it's not even there. Just typical nonsense coming from the government. And really, essentially, that was the Treasury's way. She just threw another $1 trillion of money into the economy and didn't even have to ask anybody to do anything about it. Pretty interesting. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Again, it's so hard. We spent so much money. And you think about over the last 120 to 160 days, Janet Yellen released another $1 trillion. And she took all the unspent COVID money and spent it. And put it all into the economy. Drove yields down, right? Think about the fact that money markets were returning nothing. There was days where a 30-year note yielded zero on these Treasury auctions, because Janet Yellen was just releasing all of this money, which is why the Fed had to pay that interest to keep those money market accounts from baking the buck again. And again, I know that gets convoluted and complicated. Take my word for it. Believe me, that's what happened. But now she's out of that money, and we've hit the debt ceiling all at the same time. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm not buying all this. And, of course, the jobs picture, I told you on Friday, listen, it was a good number. Don't get me wrong. It was. But there was a lot of sand in that number. Like I said, J.P. Morgan came out with a whole bunch of stuff, and they're like, we're looking for maybe 53,000 jobs next month. We'll see. There's going to be a big slowdown in jobs created next month, and I think all this taper stuff and all that way premature, because the Biden administration, along with Janet Yellen, is saying we've got to spend this another 3.5. We still haven't got the regular infrastructure deal, still not done yet. That's $1 trillion. That's not what I'm talking. This is the 3.5 trillion, the human infrastructure package. So this is for fiscal year 2022. So the Biden administration kind of said, hey, we're not going to get this done before the end of September. So the government fiscal year, just so you know, runs October through September. So fiscal year 2021 is going to end at the end of next month. Then we'll start fiscal year 2022 in October. So line. There will be more added to this as the senators get to it. Some of this I've covered. A lot of this is new. We know that it establishes universal pre-K, right, for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, and a new child care benefit for working families. Now, we're already giving $300 a month. And actually, at this age, 3 and 4, you want 3 and 4, you get $300 a month. I think after 6, you get $250 a month. That's already happened, and they want to give you more. Now, we know what this pre-K is, right? That's babysitting. And we'll make the government pay for it, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. Community college tuition, free for 2 years. Why wouldn't we have done, how about, you want to do something to help the economy? How about 2 years of trade school free? That would help. Right, let's get more plumbers and carpenters and electricians, heating and AC, all of those trades. Let's get more of that now. They don't really want to help. Extends the largest tax cuts for families with children. Okay, right? We know about that. Increase the Pell Grant Award. Of course, Pell Grant, that's how you go to college. Again, they're still on this thing. We've already proven. Did you see the latest now, lawyers? They're saying the cost to become a lawyer no longer worth it. No longer worth it. Well, listen, they're going to fix that. Lawyers just start charging more. Create the first ever paid family leave and medical leave benefit. Right, that's a new one, right? Hey, whether you're the husband or the wife, doesn't matter. Everyone just takes 6 weeks off. That's on the, I guess, on the family side. That's in there. How about climate side? Create a new clean electric payment program. No idea what that even means. Create a new clean electricity payment program. Cost of electricity is going to get real expensive. See Oroville, the lake in California, no more power. They created enough electricity for 800,000 homes. It's what, 2.5 million, 3 million people gone, right? Powell and Meade on the tipping point. Joe Biden wants half of every car by 2030 to be electric. If I have time, Toyota has already come out and said that's ridiculous. Can't happen. But again, this climate part, just know why I'm saying silver's a screaming buy here. All of this requires lots of silver. Provides clean energy manufacturing and transportation tax incentives and grants. In other words, the government is going to pay and give discounts for solar and all of these things, kind of like Tesla. Tesla really doesn't make money. You know what Tesla makes money? They sell these clean energy carbon things to make all their money. Impose new polluter fees. Right? Methane, carbon, all of this stuff. Again, already, you think inflation's bad now. Right? Just wait. Invest in climate-smart agriculture and forest management investments for farmers and rural communities. Here's what I know. Anytime we've said we're going to do something for the farmers, what always happens? The big farms get the money. I mean, it's happened over and over and over again. Create coastal and ocean resiliency programs. Again, don't know. Can you imagine what these senators are going to stuff into this thing? Create coastal and ocean resiliency programs. Makes drought, wildfires, and interior department investments. Makes drought, wildfires, and interior department investments. I don't know what that means. Are we going to pay the people fighting the wildfires more money? What are we going to? I don't know. Droughts. What do you do? I don't know, but we're going to spend some money on it. I'm still not to anything that's created any jobs yet. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. Jay Powell, will he have a job in February or will he not? We'll see. Obviously, they're grooming Lael Bernard to be the person who is very much in line with Janet Yellen. They want to spend a lot of money. All these great causes, and now, of course, we're seeing this human infrastructure bill where we want to be. Hey, we'll start babysitting your kids on the government payroll at 3, right? We're going to give you free college junior college, I guess, community college, I guess is what it's called. Community college, 2 years of free. Right? Nothing for where the real jobs are. Right? I mean, think about where are the jobs? But they keep talking about all the trade schools. Make that free. Of course, again, all tax cuts and grants and blah, 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 and giveaways. Then the climate side. Some of these things, I can't even imagine. Look at this next one. Consumer rebates for home electrification and weatherization. Right? In other words, hey, we're going to pay. Get more solar panels on roofs, and just ask California how well the solar panels have worked. And weatherization, right? I don't know. New windows, new doors, what? An incredible amount of spending. Electrifies the federal vehicle fleet in buildings. Right? So now the federal government's only going to buy electric vehicles. Where they buy a lot of vehicles. Now all the think about every federal building. They're going to replace all the doors and the windows and everything. I mean, huge amounts of cost. And also, again, I'll go back to forget about free junior college or community college. Sounds like we're going to need a lot of electricians, a lot of carpenters, a lot of heating and AC, a lot of all of those trade things. Wow. Now, they're calling this infrastructure and jobs section. Historic level of investment in public housing. Okay. So, again, let's throw money at it. Green and sustainable housing. Our houses are pretty sustainable, aren't they? I mean, people are living in houses that are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. Green and sustainable housing. Housing production and affordability. That one really scares me. Now the government's going to try to make something affordable. When's the last time the government made anything affordable? All I see is Obamacare. That's all I see. Establishes the first ever civilian climate corps. And of course, my fear is what? The first ever what? Climate police? Is this what we're talking about? Invest in workforce development and job training programs to connect workers to good paying jobs. Yes. We're going to connect you. It's pretty simple. Either you have the skills or you don't. Right? No connecting needed. Right? I mean, just look at everybody says they're hiring. I don't know. Wow. Scary. Scary. Provide green cards to millions of immigrant workers and families. Now I'm hearing 8 to 11 million. Right, so this is a replay. Remember Ronald Reagan? That was the last time we just legalized millions. Well, how is that? Well, again, this is human infrastructure. So make sure we keep incentivizing people to illegally enter the country. Man, how are we going to pay for all that? Fund smart technology for safe and efficient borders for trade, travel, and migration. I can just see it. Hey, let's throw some more drones up. Look, here comes another 100 and another 100 and another 100. See? We're gonna maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll be airdropping food and all this other stuff to them. I'm not quite sure. That one, I don't know what that means. Efficient borders for trade, travel, and migration. I don't know. It's pretty efficient right now. right? Just ask all the illegals coming over. Largest ever one-time investment. Well, I'm glad it's a one-time. This is a one-time. In Native American infrastructure projects. Okay. New economic development investments to revitalize communities and transform regions for new innovation jobs. If you don't have an In-N-Out burger or Chick-fil-A yet, we'll bring it to you, right? We'll make everybody be the same. I'm still not done. Still not done. We got more. Patriot Radio News Hour. Yeah, get some 20s on sale today. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Talking about fiscal year 2022 and the spending that they want to impose. I'm going to try to get through this quickly. Rehabilitate aging Veteran Administration buildings and hospitals. Invest in research and development and strengthen U.S. manufacturing supply chains. Well, you can't do that if it's not made here. Right? Pretty simple. Expand access to capital and markets for small businesses. Healthcare. You can't forget that. Add new dental, vision, and health benefits to Medicare and Medicaid. Extend the recent expansion of the Affordable Care Act, which makes everything unaffordable. Invest in homes and community-based services to help seniors, persons with disabilities, and home care workers. Create a new federal health program for Americans in the Medicaid gap. In other words, put more people into Medicaid. Reduce prescription drug costs. They've been promising that forever. Saving the taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars. This agreement, $3.5 trillion, is going to be fully offset. Ready? New tax revenue, which they say no one under $400,000 is going to be affected. Baloney. Everything they talk to is going to make everything cost a fortune, first off. Secondly, 98% of American households make less than $400,000. So we're not getting much there. Okay? And again, anything they do, listen, the smart people they pay, they find the loopholes. Healthcare savings. Adding more people saves no money. Look at Affordable Care. They just make it up. It never happens. It always costs more. But they'll say that it didn't. And then, of course, long-term economic growth. They overstate what the growth's going to be and then say, see, we paid for it. Never going to happen. This is because this is just incredible what we're talking about. Of course, the amount of money is incredible, $3.5 trillion. But again, get ready. All of these programs now, everything's got to cost that much. And it's only going to make it worse. It's only going to continue the problems. And the fact of the matter that you've got Janet Yellen, and it looks like a possible reshaping of the Federal Reserve to get into all these causes like climate change and social justice and all this other stuff. I think we're setting it up. And remember, I know what happened, last night, this morning. It is what it is. Whether it was Wall Street making a big lick, or really was China in there? Did China buy a bunch of metal? I don't know. But just remember what Stan Druckenmiller said. We've already created way too much. We have too much excess, too much money out there. And if you really want to destroy things, keep putting more money in. And I think it's pretty interesting to find out that Janet Yellen, instead of returning, right? What would have been? It would have been obviously, right, the first time in history probably that the government actually returned unused money. Nah. Let's just spend it. And that's exactly what they did. Now that spending's over, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how it'll all play out, but I do know $20 gold pieces under $2,000. It's been a while since we've seen that. U.S. $20 liberties, $1,995, and I've got a good amount of them too, so that makes it even better. 800-951-0592. God bless everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.